In 1945, the entire population of a small Midwestern town called Urkhammer vanished into thin air in a single night, leaving their dinners on the tables and their fires still burning. But when investigators rushed to the scene, they discovered something far more terrifying than a mass kidnapping. There were absolutely no footprints leading out of the town. Urkhammer was a modest settlement, home to just over 300 residents who farmed the surrounding plains of Iowa. They were a tight-knit community, the kind of place where everyone knew their neighbor and doors were never locked. On the evening of November 14th, passing travelers reported seeing the town lights shining brightly from the highway. But by the next morning, a mail carrier driving his usual route noticed a suffocating, unnatural silence hanging over the valley. He stopped his truck at the first farmhouse on the edge of town, calling out for the owner who always greeted him. There was no reply, only the sound of a screen door creaking back and forth in the cold autumn wind. Inside, he found a table set for breakfast with plates of untouched, moldering food and cups of coffee long gone cold. Panicked, the mail carrier drove to the local sheriff's office in the next county to report that something was terribly wrong. When the deputy sheriffs arrived, they began a house-by-house search, expecting to find signs of a violent struggle or a localized tragedy. Instead, they found homes perfectly preserved, with beds unmade as if their occupants had just stepped out for a moment. In the local schoolhouse, lessons were still written on the chalkboard, and children's coats hung neatly on their pegs. Even more chillingly, livestock in the barns were found alive but starving, trapped in their pens with no one to feed them. This ruled out a planned evacuation, as these farmers would never have left their valuable animals to suffer and perish. The local bank was completely secure, with thousands of dollars in cash still locked safely inside the vault. If the residents had fled from a threat, why did no one take their life savings, their vehicles, or even their winter coats? As news of the vanishing spread, theories began to run wild across the country, capturing the imagination of a post-war public. Some suspected a secret government test, hinting that a chemical weapon or a radiation experiment had gone horribly wrong. Yet, there were no traces of chemical residue, no radioactive anomalies, and no signs of military movement in the area. Others whispered of mass alien abduction, pointing to strange lights that farmers in neighboring counties claimed to see that night. But skeptics quickly pointed out that 300 people could not be lifted into the sky without leaving some physical trace behind. The surrounding soil was tested for unusual burns or depressions, but the fields were entirely undisturbed. As weeks turned into months, the state police conducted the largest missing persons investigation in Iowa history. They dragged the nearby rivers, searched every abandoned mine shaft, and combed through hundreds of square miles of forest. Not a single body, piece of clothing, or personal item belonging to any Urkhammer resident was ever recovered. The mystery deepened when genealogists tried to track down living relatives of the missing townsfolk to gather DNA or clues. They discovered that many of the families listed in the town registry seemed to have no records of existence prior to moving to Urkhammer. It was as if the town itself and the people who built it had materialized out of nowhere, only to vanish just as suddenly. Some alternative historians suggest the entire story of Urkhammer was an elaborate urban legend created by a local journalist. Yet, faded property deeds and land registry entries from the early 20th century clearly show the town's geographic boundaries. The state of Iowa eventually removed Urkhammer from its official maps in the late 1950s, marking the area as unincorporated land. Today, the land where Urkhammer once stood is privately owned farmland, with no visible signs that a town ever existed there. The wooden houses, the school, and the shops were completely demolished decades ago to make room for more crops. But locals who live in the surrounding counties still refuse to walk through those fields after the sun goes down. They claim that on quiet autumn nights, you can still hear the faint, ghostly sound of a school bell ringing in the distance. Others swear they have seen distant warm porch lights flickering where no houses have stood for over 70 years. The file on Urkhammer remains officially open but cold, a silent monument to one of the most baffling mass disappearances in human history. The tragedy of Urkhammer reminds us that the line between existence and erasure is terrifyingly thin, and some secrets are swallowed so deeply by the earth they can never be recovered.